Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and it's time for another Overwatch theory video. Today I'm going to be talking about Sombra, and I know what you're thinking, oh god, not another Sombra video. Well, bear with me for a moment because this is a bit different. So, I spotted a Reddit thread mentioning something to this effect, and I've linked it down in the description below. Now, this is not a direct response to that thread, but it's related to the idea. So, the basic idea has to do with the Moment in Crime website and the ZOMNICs in the Junkenstein's Revenge weekly part of the Halloween event that's currently ongoing. So the question, of course, is, are they related? Is Sombra secretly raising an army of Omnics to do her bidding? And could she be building an army for a new Omnic crisis? Well, yes and no. First things first, I don't believe they're related at all. Dr. Junkenstein's creations, in fact, the entire method behind his madness, revolves around machines he created himself, so the ZOMNICs might look like a risen Omnic army of the dead, but they are in fact haphazardly built machines that resemble Omnics being put to use by the mad scientist himself. Even Junkenstein's monster, reminiscent of course of Dr. Frankenstein's creation, is a creature that Dr. Junkenstein built himself. So it's not likely that any sort of hacking was done here. What is more likely is that the Mad Doctor repurposed the hulks of dead Omnics for his own use, rather than trying to turn live Omnics to his cause. After all, the Omnics are visibly missing parts and simply filled with explosives, and the Zombardiers aren't any better. They're built with the same quality and attention to detail as you'd expect, with parts hanging about and unfinished and lacking what you might call polish to finish the job. So in essence, the Halloween Brawl is what you might call Overwatch's first official spin-off. It takes place in the same universe and carries over the same sort of theme. The characters within it reference past history with each other, and that is directly tied into the main universe's overall canon. But the actual story itself could then be considered non-canon. So what about the Moment in Crime website? The translation basically reads transmitting information to Omnics. So what's all that about then? Considering what I've said about the Halloween Brawl, it seems likely that these ZOMNICs are not the same Omnics we're talking about here. But what is the purpose of it all? Now, it has been speculated that this could be a new Omnic crisis about to happen, and based on the weekly Brawl, i.e. that it's Overwatch's first PvE mode, we could actually be about to see more PvE modes in future, featuring scenarios based on that idea. So while the ZOMNICs are likely not the same as the Omnics referenced in the Moment in Crime website text, it's entirely possible that something is still happening here from a narrative standpoint. So what if Sombra is building an Omnic army? What could be the consequences of such a thing? Well, for starters, it would depend on the size of the army itself. After the first Omnic crisis, a lot of Omnics that were still functioning took part in the war on the enemy side and were then decommissioned and recycled, and this included many Bastion units. So the front line of the original Omnic armies would have been completely decimated. But of course, this would then be compounded by whatever plans Sombra might have in mind. Numbers might not matter as much if she's attempting some sort of insurgency or guerrilla warfare. Neither would the composition of such an army, and in fact, more incognito or less obviously militarized Omnics, i.e. Bastion units and the like, would be preferable, but it's still not clear what Sombra would be attempting to achieve with something like this. Overall, I think the Halloween Brawl gives us a good indication of what PvE might be like in Overwatch if they were to pursue it. However, from a narrative standpoint, it's definitely not indicative of where Overwatch's narrative will go in future. Sombra is clearly involved, if not responsible for, attempting to control Omnics, but her purpose for it remains unclear. Maybe it's the dawn of a new Omnic crisis, or maybe it's something more stealthy and sinister than all-out war. But let me know what you guys think. Is Sombra trying to start a second Omnic crisis, or is she just trying to achieve something else? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. My name is Panzer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.